Good evening. Does God exist? There is something profoundly good and profoundly twisted about our world and people in it. Making Sense of Your World, Geisler 2008. There are many people in the world today who do not believe in God, yet there are many people in the world today who do believe in God. There are also many examples in my life to prove that God truly exists. One of those instances is from the ages of 16 to 19. This is when God truly showed me that He was there for me and that He truly existed. Now, I was brought up with kind of a dysfunctional life. My father left me when I was 6 months old. My mother left at the age of 16, and that's where my sister came in and she became the so-called mother, which was very bossy but yet very lazy. When my mother left me at the age of 16, I was very shook up. I didn't know what to do. I moved from a wonderful school where I had a ton of friends to a place where I knew nobody. I started working at the Bloomfield Big M, where I would then pay for some of my clothes and school supplies and any activities that I wanted to have done. I started the new school in my 11th grade year, which is also very difficult because you're almost done with school and you hope to end your last years with people who you know. And my mother was no longer able to stay at home. She had to go to work. So my mother decided that she was going to get a job, and she also decided that she was going to have a boyfriend and practically live at his house. This was very difficult for me because I always used to have my mother at my side, and now I was practically on my own and taking care of myself. At the age of 17, by the end of the 11th grade, I started to hang out with more people who weren't actually the greatest of role models. I then started smoking cigarettes and participating in smoking marijuana. The summer of my junior to senior year was quite difficult because I yet alone did not have my mother with me by my side. I had to furnish my own food, my clothing, my school supplies for my senior year, as well as partake in all of the extracurricular activities that I decided to join, which would have been smoking cigarettes and smoking marijuana, and also introducing myself to alcohol. My senior year, still at the age of 17, I was one of the young seniors. I would go to school almost every single day, very high off of marijuana. I would skip many classes, and I would never get in trouble because I would forge my mother's signature. I never drew a red flag to any of the teachers or any of the staff members to think that I needed any help because of the sweet and innocent look that I had growing up. I also tutored ninth graders my senior year, so that was kind of a bonus for the teachers to have a senior help them out with ninth graders to help them pass. So not at one time did anybody have a red flag on me for maybe reaching out or needing somebody to lead me in the right direction. Also, my senior year, I was the captain of the volleyball team. I was the head cheerleader, and I was also one of the co-captains on my track team, which I made it to sectionals and placing by doing the pentathlon. After graduation of my senior year, which would be, I'm now 18, I was introduced to a relationship, and it was a very, very bad relationship, which took me 8 years to get out of. It was a physically and mentally abusive relationship, and I only stayed because I was afraid for my life. The summer between my senior year in college, I'd gotten into much trouble because of my boyfriend. I was never caught by the police or anything, but I was definitely caught by the devil. I left my home, started to drink more, do more drugs, such as laced marijuana, hash, acid, mushrooms, cocaine, etc. I was so out of my mind, I chose to drink and do drugs instead of take a beautiful scholarship that was handed to me to play volleyball in Rochester, New York. I chose the wrong path. I became not the valedictorian of a college. I actually became one of the top town drug dealers. I was the third top dealer, which I'm really not proud of, but that's where I was. I sold my Beretta GT that was given to me by my aunt, which was money from when my grandparents died that they gave me, and I sold it for a pound of marijuana and $500. I have nothing to show from that. I had no place to live for 3 months, so I lived in a tent. Everything that I had earned, saved, bought, gotten from anybody was stolen from me from my so-called friends. Every day when I was 18, I seemed as if I was stepping on eggshells with my life, with the police, and with my boyfriend. I thought I was in a place that I could never get out of, and that I had to deal with my bad choices that I had made. Until the age of 19. In September, I was doing my normal routine. I was sitting by the fire, by myself, of course, because I didn't like to be around people at all. It was all about me, and I just did not care for any of the people that we hung out with because I did not like the situation I was in. I was drinking my bottle of vodka and had my roller in my hand, which was quite a routine for me. I all of a sudden became very ill, and I had to leave. I had no clue what was wrong with me. I went home, and I went to bed. I woke up the next day, and we were over at a friend's house. My friend's uncle came screaming down the hill into my friend's trailer with a gun and made us all sit down and put a gun to our head. Not knowing anything that was going on, I was told that there was a person who stole money from this man, and he was going to shoot people until he got his money back. Well, that actually diffused, and everybody was okay, and we got out, and I honestly don't remember if somebody came clean or whatnot. I had no clue about anything because I had left early and didn't know if anybody had taken it, or I probably wouldn't have said anything at that time anyways. I would have been too afraid. That same day, same afternoon, I went to the doctor's because I had just been so sick, either from drinking too much, doing too many drugs, or possibly the incident with the gunpoint just made me so sick that I had to get rushed to the doctor's. When I was at the doctor's, I was told that I was pregnant. I didn't know what to do. I was so scared to tell my boyfriend at the time that I was pregnant. I had two choices I could have chose from. One, I could have kept my child that was growing inside of me, or two, I could have aborted the child. Well, this is how I know that God still exists. I chose to have my child at the age of 19. My child is my daughter, who is 18 right now and in college. I do know that there is a God, and I do know that my God exists, because if I if there was not a God, I would not be standing here right now. Yes, God does exist, and I am living proof. And one saying that I have actually in my car and all over my house is, with God, all things are possible. And that is Matthew 19:26. And I truly believe that with all my heart, that you can do nothing unless you have God in it. Thank you, and have a good night.